So thanks everybody for coming. I'm Robyn from GrillGirl.com. A little bit about me. Back in 2008, believe it or not, I stumbled upon grilling. I discovered grilling honestly by accidentally singeing my eyebrows off, and the rest is history. That was, I went to go use my husband's. Now he's my husband's grill, and the gas starter wasn't working, and the next thing you know, a big explosion happened, and I decided, you know what, I was going to get him a new grill, and from after that point on, I wanted to get my money's worth out of that grill, and I really just fell in love with grilling. So if you love grilling, I've got so much content on my website. If you're looking to learn the basics, I have a video series called Grill School, and I have a lot of recipes that are how-to recipes, even for specific types of grills. So don't be a stranger. I'm all over the place online at GrillGirl Robyn on Instagram, GrillGirl Robyn on Facebook, GrillGirl.com. If you have questions, type them here in the chat box, but also Robyn with the Y at GrillGirl.com is my email. So I think it's really pretty interesting to see how people have really been getting into grilling. I actually talked to my my Weber dealer and my Big Green Egg rep the other day, and he told me that, believe it or not, the Weber had actually run out of gas grills, and actually Big Green Egg had run out of Big Green Egg, which is a Kamado style cooker, because, you know, in light of all of the pandemic stuff, a lot of people are taking their vacation dollars and investing them in their backyard. So if you have been thinking about learning how to grill, now is an awesome time. So I really wanted to just teach all the basics of even just how to start a grill so that you can really set yourself up for success. So let's break grilling down into a couple different types of grilling. You've got charcoal, you've got gas, and you've got pellet smokers. So I have a pellet smoker as well. I didn't want to bring it all the way out or roll it all the way out here, but I'm happy to answer questions about that. Pellet smoking is definitely one of the newer types of grilling that's taking hold. It's super popular. I definitely think that that's one of the reasons more women are getting into grilling. So let's talk a little bit about gas. So what I found, you know, when I first started really getting into grilling, I discovered that, you know, it's so fun. And I also found that a lot of women weren't doing as much grilling as men. So I started hosting these women's grilling clinics. And what I found was a lot of women were intimidated specifically around how to start a grill. So I think, you know, I really wanted to demystify that whole process. So I have one of my portable gas grills here, and I want to just walk y'all through how to start a gas grill. Now, most gas grills are propane. So this is just a mini one. I actually really like this grill because it's portable. I can take it wherever. So most gas grills are going to be run on propane unless you have a natural gas hookup. And if you look, I'm going to try to show this to y'all. There's usually a button on your burner that looks like a little lightning bolt, and that's where you need to put the button on to start the grill. Oops, sorry about that. Telemarketer. And then this means that the gas is on. This means you're going to put it in the right spot, and then you press the button. So this is your starter. And that's, and I just put a new gas on here, so let's hope it's working. Oh. So now we're going. Now what I found is a lot of people don't grill year round or don't maintain their grills. And what happens is the starter burns out. And what that means is then you have your gas going. When you're starting to grill, you're starting to light the grill, you turn the gas on, but the starter's burned out, which means the gas is on and you're trying to light it and nothing's happening. And then you end up needing to use like a lighter to manually light it. The problem is that gas has been going the whole time, which that's how you end up with the flame ball effect. So my advice is, if this is happening and your gas starter's burned out, don't let so much time elapse where you have all this gas going into your grill from the time you actually get the lighter out, because that means you've been building the gas up. So just turn it off so that, and then turn it back on when you're ready to light that burner directly, so that you don't get that flame ball effect. Now, if you go to my Grill School series on YouTube and on my website, you'll see that I have some tips for testing your gas grill and even checking to see if your propane tank might have a leak on it, a leak in it. And you can do this with like a soapy water mixture and put it over your tank And that way you'll know if you have a leak, because you don't want to have a leak that could be dangerous in your propane tank, and then you can go exchange it somewhere else. So yeah, so thanks for joining me, y'all. I'm in Florida. I'm sweating out here with y'all. I've heard some of the other grillers did it in the kitchen, and you can't do a grilling demo in your kitchen. So anyway, so the other way is, let me back up on gas grills. So most bigger gas grills, you're gonna have a couple different burners, and that's what's gonna really allow you to control, to do direct and indirect. And I'm gonna show you guys that in a second. So now let's talk about starting a charcoal grill. So what I love about grilling charcoal is that you get that awesome smoky flavor that you're just never gonna get from a gas grill. I'm actually an ambassador for Kingsford Charcoal. I've been working with them for a long time. I'm a big fan. And so there's a lot of different ways to start a charcoal grill. A lot of people think you need to use lighter fluid. You definitely don't need to use lighter fluid. I'm using what's called a chimney starter. Now, a chimney starter, you can find these at Home Depot or your hardware store, or even on Amazon. What this is basically, if you've seen the old school things, where you take like an old coffee can with the holes punched out, that's what this is. So what you want to do is, I usually use like a paper towel or like some newspaper, and you ball it up at the bottom, and then you light it. Now, for me, I'm in Florida. It's so stinking humid out here. Sometimes it has a hard time lighting. So sometimes I'll even put a little bit like peanut oil or whatever I'm using to coat my grill grates, which I'm going to show you guys in a second. So you light this, and what it does is it gets the coals started. And when these ash over at the top, which these pretty much almost have, then you dump them in to your grill. So on a gas grill, your fuel is going to be your propane or your natural gas. And on a charcoal grill, your fuel is going to be charcoal. Now, there are a couple different types of charcoal. And if you look at my grill school, I really get into it. But you have like briquettes, which is like what Kingsford uses. This is a briquette. And then you also have what's called lump charcoal, which is really just like wood that's been burned down. So a briquette is basically like compressed wood. And if you ever want to do a little research on Kingsford, believe it or not, that's kind of fun to research, because if you look at the name Kingsford, I think it was the brother-in-law of Henry Ford that had like, they started Kingsford together, believe it or not. That it was the brainchild of trying to figure out what to do with all that extra wood from making the Model T, which is a fun story. So what you're going to get with charcoal is briquettes is consistency, because they're all the same size, so you kind of know what to get. Versus lump charcoal, that's burned down wood. It can be all different kinds of shapes and sizes, different types of wood, so it's a little more unexpected. Now, if you ever go down, or I should say unexpected in that, you're just not going to have as much consistency in what you expect from a burn. Like, if you put charcoal in your grill, lump charcoal, you may have one big chunk, which is going to light really hot, and then smaller chunks. So it's just not going to be as consistent for your cook. But a lot of popular types of grills, like the Kamado style cookers, call for lump charcoal. So there you go. So I've got my charcoal. It's ready to go. So this is often pretty hot, when you touch it. So I advise having like a set of gloves you can use. Just, you don't want to burn yourself. And trust me, if there's a way you can burn yourself, I probably have done it. I even have burned the backs of my legs, accidentally walking by one of these. So just be careful. Let me put this here for a second. And then, of course, you want to start with clean grill grates. So let me just, now I'm using my Weber Kettle. A Weber Kettle is a great classic grill. There's a million different types of grills out there, but I like to call my Kettle the democratization of grills, because there's really nothing you can't do on a kettle. You can grill and you can smoke. So if you're thinking like, oh, I want to do ribs, I want to do some low and slow, you can do that in a kettle. A lot of people think they need a really expensive grill. I like this, that it's kind of approachable for everybody. So now we're going to take our charcoal and dump it in. Oh. Now, I'm wearing flip-flops. Sometimes I'm like, maybe I shouldn't wear flip-flops, as I got a little. So I'm going to put my burners back on. I just I let my chimney starter go on my grill, so I don't put a little, burn a patch of grass in my backyard. So it's always important to start with a clean grill. And once you get your coals in there, it helps burn off, some of the excess junk on your coals. So one thing that's really, really important for grilling that people don't realize is just learning how to utilize zones on your grill. And this is going to open up your world in the world of grilling and smoking. Because if you ever do want to learn how to smoke like ribs or something, or a pork butt down the road, you need to learn how to use indirect heat. And that's where you get the low and slow. So on your grill, how you do this is to create direct and indirect zones. And this is actually pretty easy, is you just move your charcoal to one side. Now, sometimes these grills will come with little baskets where you can put the coals in and move them around. And I always have those things floating around in my backyard and they end up getting misplaced. But the easiest way is really just to move that charcoal to one side. You know, take one of your grilling tools. I'm just going to use these. So you may not be able to see this, but what's going on here is I've moved all of the charcoal to one side of the grill, and this is going to allow me to have two different zones. And zone cooking is really important just because anytime you grill something, it just gives you options, right? If something's cooking too fast, move it to the indirect side. You know, you don't want to char something on the outside but still have it raw on the inside. So let's talk about how to think about direct and indirect. So direct, think about like that's when you're under the broiler in your oven. You're directly under that heat source, or on your grill, you're over that heat source, you're over the charcoal. Now, when you're on indirect, that's like the ambient heat. So you're still getting heat, but you're not directly over the heat source. So that's really like when you're roasting, right? So think about, you know, if you want to get a big tomahawk steak like you've been seeing people cook, you're gonna need to use like zones, or even what I call the reverse sear method, and let it come to temp on indirect and then do a hot sear at the end. So learning how to create zones is just going to help you out. If something's cooking too quickly, you can always pull it off to the side. It just gives you options. It's one of the kind of basic principles of grilling. And so if you're on a gas grill, a lot of times what that means is just having one burner on and two off, or you know, whatever your arrangement is. So it's pretty easy on a gas grill too. So we've got our grills. We've got direct and indirect zones. Now what am I gonna do? So we don't want our food to stick. So this is really something easy you can do. So I'm gonna coat my grill grates, and I just always use paper towels, nothing too fancy. And now think about it for grilling, you're using high heat, right? So what most people have hanging around is like olive oil. I mean, I like to cook with olive oil, but olive oil is actually not a high heat oil. So I actually use peanut oil. I found that is really great for it's high heat. It's a high heat oil. So, you know, vegetable oil works well too. And I just put this on my paper towel. And after you've cleaned your grill, now you're gonna coat your grates with this. And so this way your food is less likely to stick. Especially something like chicken, which has skin. You know, if all your chicken skin gets stuck on the grill and you kind of mangle it, it just doesn't look as pretty. This is just gonna give you, it's just gonna make it a lot easier. And that's it, easy peasy. You can use your tongs. And so another trick I wanna share with y'all, you know, barbecue chicken is probably one of the most popular things people want to grill for a cookout, right? And you think, oh, it's so easy, chicken, barbecue sauce. You know, most people use or buy and cook with chicken breasts. And I want to just share with y'all why I don't recommend chicken breasts. So they're very thick. They have a very low fat content, so they dry out quickly. And they also don't cook evenly. So, you know, a lot of times what you see is people will burn the outside, but then the inside's not fully cooked. So my dad and I do a lot of competition barbecue. We do like Memphis in May, which they call is like the Super Bowl of swine, if you will. And you will never, ever see a chicken breast and a chicken turn-in for a barbecue competition. It will always be chicken thighs. So I encourage you to try cooking chicken thighs, and I think it'll blow your mind. Because it's a dark meat, so It's just a lot more moist and juicy. It's a lot less expensive at the grocery store. It's very forgiving on the grill, and it's a lot less likely to dry out. So the picture I put on the registration was bone-in chicken thighs. What we're going to use is boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So this is kind of my go-to weeknight chicken because I love boneless, skinless chicken thighs because they're very inexpensive. I like to grill a big batch up and just use them for the week. You know, you can make tacos. It's very kid friendly, or you can throw that meat on a salad or whatever. So you can grill like one night and have enough, you know, a couple nights worth of meals that you can use that grilled chicken in to carry on that grilled chicken flavor. So my second trick for you guys is pickle juice, you guys. I just discovered this a couple months ago, and it's really been a game changer for me. So anytime you cook chicken, if you have the time, I highly recommend brining. So brining is basically putting your chicken in like a saltwater bath to help it retain moisture on the grill. A lot, you know, I like to do it for pork chops as well, but I am a big pickle fan. And even if you're not, I recommend buying some pickles and using the juice for and marinating your chicken in these overnight. It's a game changer. So believe it or not, that's what Chick-fil-A uses for their chicken, and that's why it's so freaking good. So I always, after I finish a jar of pickles, I just save I have a backup refrigerator in my garage, and I just put the leftover juice in the back of the refrigerator until I'm ready to use it. So the other thing I want to demystify about barbecue chicken is coating it in sauce. So most barbecue sauce is loaded in sugar, and sugar burns on the grill. So what you want to do is actually put your sauce on at the very end, and that way it's not going to get all burned and charred. So what I've done here, I've brined these chicken thighs in pickle juice, and I've already put some rub on. You know, use an all-purpose rub. I'm actually developing a rub I'm really excited about that should be coming out later this year. But you know, use what you like, right? So another tip, I like to use parchment paper because it's biodegradable, unlike foil, but I can just tear the parchment paper off once I've used the chicken, and at least that's like one less thing that's as exposed to chicken juice, you know, when I do dishes. So that's just me. I just don't like touching chicken juice. So I've got my boneless, skinless chicken thighs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start these on indirect, and I've coated them in rub, and you can see it's really juicy from all the pickle brine. So now I'm just going to put these on indirect. Now this is a pretty hot grill, so they're going to cook really quickly. Now let me get my lid. So my charcoal, I'm not sure if y'all can see it here. This grill, I would have to guess, is about 400 degrees. I've thrown these chicken breasts on indirect right now, and I'm just going to let them come to temp. Now, especially if they were thicker or bigger than they are, make sure to start on indirect, and then you finish them on direct at the end. And the whole goal is that you allow it to come to temp on indirect, and then you char or sear at the end. And that way you just get a really good even cook. This is how, if you were smoking chicken thighs, that's how you would do it. If you're doing a steak, they call this the reverse sear method, where you really bring it up to almost where you want it in the internal temp, and then you sear it at the end. Now let me what type of pickle do you use? I always have Clausen, but sorry, here I am seeing questions, but you know, whatever you like. I have some regional ones here in Florida I really like. Now, let's talk a little bit about meat thermometers. So this is really a game changer in your grilling journey, because this way you never have to guess. And this is really, I'd say, the number one thing I recommend. Get yourself an internal read thermometer. So this one's about $90, but they make one that does just as good of a job that's $30. You can find them via an affiliate link on my website, but I highly, highly, highly recommend using an internal read thermometer. So this way, for example, we know that chicken, the internal temperature needs to be at 160 or 170. So if we go onto the grill and we temp it at 165, well, it's going to continue to come up to temp after we take it off the grill. So then we know we can pull it. And this is especially important, you know, not just for chicken, but let's just say you are making steaks and your mother-in-law is over and she wants her steak cooked well done, and your brother-in-law wants his medium rare. Well, once you know that internal temperature that you need to reach, like for a medium rare, you want like a 125, you know, and well, I don't even know what well is. I never cook it. I think it's like 160, but you get the idea. That way, you are really setting yourself up for success, and you don't have to guess, especially with chicken, right? Like that's one that's always just like, you never want to serve anyone undercooked chicken. But you don't want to serve anyone overcooked chicken either. Like it says, it's 94 degrees here in Florida. I would not. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. So we're gonna go check on our chicken thighs, and now we're on the indirect side right now. We're just letting it come up to temp. You know, we can temp it now, and you can see how it works. You know, we can see we're at 100, and these are really thin. I mean, these are gonna cook super quickly, but especially for thicker cuts, definitely take advantage of your zones. And one thing I like to do, just because I'm paranoid, is like about halfway through my cook, once the chicken gets more well cooked, I always switch my tongs, just because I'm just like very all about safety with chicken. With steak and stuff, I don't care as much. But you know, if you start really just understanding the internal temperatures that you need to reach with your proteins, it'll really just help you open up your world of just cooking food the way the way it should taste, right? Like if you think about pork, about 4 or 5 years ago, the National Pork Board lowered the internal temperature of pork. It used to be 160 and they lowered it to 145. That made a huge difference in really just the taste of the meat, right? So these are all things that just make for just a better grilling experience. So we have got our chicken. It's you know, we've been sitting on indirect. So you know, when you're on indirect, again, it's just like an oven. This is an outdoor oven with the benefit of all that smoky flavor. So I like, and another thing you can think about doing is you want to add some smoke flavor, get some wood chunks of whatever you like. You know, some woods pair better with different proteins. I'd say for like a chicken, I like oak or maple. You know, some people want to, you know, for like a beef, they want to do like mesquite or hickory. Some of those can be overpowering. I kind of like the more subtle flavors, if you will. But that just allows you to kind of really add your own touch to your cook, right? So how long do you cook the thighs on indirect before turning over? I would say about 4 minutes. You know, and now I'm, you know, it's a lot of it for me is just, I just kind of go by looking at it. You guys can see, you know, it's getting cooked on the outside. It's still pretty raw on the inside. I'm going to switch these to direct just so, because I know it's almost been 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So I'm going to put these on direct, and hopefully we can see the end result. But you guys try this at home. You know, that's what it's all about. Is my goal is for everyone just to kind of get out of their cooking comfort zone. And by learning the basics, you're just really going to be setting yourself up for success. So the other thing I wanted to share with you guys, and I know we might run out of time for this, is what you're going to do is after you've really almost come to temp in your grill or on your chicken thighs, is then you're going to add your sauce at the end, more like a glaze. So when you've checked your chicken for that internal temperature and you're right there, you're almost there, then add your sauce and just let it set on the grill. You know, our goal is not to burn the sauce, or, you know, because it does have a lot of sugar, but just let it set, and that's how you're, and then pull it off, and that's how you're gonna have that really gorgeous chicken presentation. And what's also great is you have so many options in barbecue sauce. You know, a lot of people have been doing keto. I'm a big fan of G. Hughes, his sugar-free sauce. This is the best one I've found that has no sugar. Just for me, I like to just kind of reduce my sugar intake. Lord knows I probably get it in my wine consumption. So, but this one I found grills really well. I think Stubbs is a good one as well. But you know, make it your own. Another thing you can do is if you find them to be too thick, I like to cut mine with a little apple cider vinegar or apple juice, and then reduce it down a little bit. So you have a lot of options. Let me just see if I can So now we're on the direct side. You can see we're already starting to get those char marks. So, but the goal is just to let it come to temp on the inside before you start really kind of burning it on the outside, or getting your char marks on the outside. But the goal was to teach you guys the importance of zones, because now if you really do want to smoke something, like true low and slow barbecue, you have options. You know, that's what it's all about, is helping you along in your journey. So yeah, so I think at this point, let me go ahead and answer some questions from you guys. You smoke cheese on your Weber kettle. Awesome. You're pretty advanced for the intro class. I love it. You could probably teach everybody some things. For chicken or steak kebabs, do you have advice on monitoring doneness or just trust your eyes? Definitely for the chicken, I would use a meat thermometer. My thing with kebabs is I don't find that when you do kebabs, like if you put the vegetables with the meat, I just find that they don't all cook at the same rate. So what I like to do is put all the meat on one stick and all the veggies on one stick, and then combine them later, because the veggies almost always cook at a different rate than the meat will, you know, and then that way you can pull it off when it's ready, because otherwise a lot of times you'll find that either the meat might be done but the peppers aren't really done, or vice versa. So that's how I like to do skewers. And you know what I like to use skewers for as well is just to grill things that might normally you might not expect. Like I like to roast garlic or even cherry tomatoes on skewers. Why sear it in and not at beginning for steak? That's just something I've been doing. They call it the reverse sear, where you bring it up to temp first, and then when you're almost, you know, and then you're just ready to kind of get that final char at the end. But I think it works pretty much the same way. I always just start it to get up to temp first. So, you know, you can consult other websites. I have the reverse sear on mine, where I do indirect and then direct at the end. Other sites you can check, like AmazingRibs.com. Meathead, who's a good friend of mine, I think he recommends it that way as well. If you ever really want to get into the nitty gritty of food science, he has a food scientist on board. So that's something to think about. If you really get into steak cooking, one thing that I've started doing that I find pretty awesome for steaks is even sous videing them first, like for the really thick ones, and then finishing them on the grill is it makes for a really awesome steak. So that's something I've been trying a lot lately, and it's pretty amazing. Any other questions, you guys? Let's see what I can show you here. So we're just about, whoops, what did I do with my tongue? Okay, so you can see we're just about getting there. So I'm gonna go ahead and let's see, temp it. You might even be able to see this from your screen. See, and there we are, I think it touched hold on. 170, 164. So you can see we're just about there, how quickly these cook too. So that means it's the perfect time to do some glazing. What size kettle is that? This is a 22-inch, I believe. I used this at the World Food Championships. I was in the, what was it called? The Firewoman Challenge. I had this shipped to me and put it together in my hotel room, but I'm a big fan of kettles. I just think they're really versatile. I have a lot of different grills, but this is one of my favorites. They make one called the Performer, which has a built-in gas starter, which is like a game changer, because you have the ease of use of starting it with the gas, but then you also have the charcoal. So definitely one of my favorites. But if you ever, are looking to get a new grill, or you want advice, chances are I may have tried that grill out, and I'm happy to give you my feedback. It's Robyn with a Y at GrillGirl.com. Yeah, I wish we could enjoy this chicken together, you guys. But luckily, you're not sweating like I am. We're here in Florida. And so now, yeah, just gonna do a little base of this sauce at the end. I think my dog is making a cameo appearance in the background somewhere. now I'm just gonna let this sauce set for a little bit on the grill, and they're done. You gotta love how easy that is too. Is that a Springer? Oh, you're in Florida too. She is a Brittany, a French Brittany. She's actually a rescue from Spain, believe it or not. What did you say to do for thick steaks? So, reverse sear method. I like to do sous vide too. If you have a sous vide machine, steaks with sous vide is amazing. But definitely, you know, and I like to add a little smoke to steaks too. Adding a little smoke at the beginning where it absorbs that smoke flavor. Like additional smoke above and beyond the charcoal you have. Add some wood chunks. So good, like a cherry. I even import pimento wood from Jamaica because I love the flavor of it. In Florida, we have so much Jamaican influence. I just got really into Jamaican jerk when I lived in Miami. But yeah, I have a lot of tutorials on steaks specifically. If you just plug in steak in the search bar on GrillGirl.com, you'll probably see at least 6 articles on steaks, and even specific ones for specific types of grills. You know, steak on the big green egg, steak on a kettle, the reverse sear method. Yeah, it's G. Hughes. Yep. He doesn't pay me or anything. I just think it's a good sauce and easy to find. A lot of the sugar-free sauces I found taste like tomato sauce, and that's not what you want in a barbecue sauce. So yeah, it's the G. Hughes sauce. I'm a fan. But yeah, you guys, it was so fun to meet all of you, and I'm glad we could all get together today. And I'll probably do a lot more live streaming in the future. So you know, stay tuned. You can just check out for updates on GrillGirl.com, and if you subscribe to my newsletter, that'll keep you in the know of all the stuff that's going on and future classes I might do. And you gotta love technology where we can all be together without being together, right? And you don't even have to sweat or get bit by mosquitoes. So, well, thanks again, you guys. Please keep in touch. And it was great to join together with y'all.